Welcome. We have an exciting topic today, AI in pharmacy, how to grow revenue and prescriber reach. My name is Nicolette Mathey, pharmacist, founder and CEO of Atrium24 and the Dotti CRM software. It's been an exciting journey, and I think it's only going to become exponentially more exciting for all of us as we dive into this topic of AI and how truly it's going to change our day-to-day. So we'll just jump in. And then I hope to reserve some time for questions at the end. But what is AI? What are we talking about here? So we're talking about artificial intelligence. It's machines mimicking human intelligence. So things like learning, reasoning, language, vision, all the things that the human mind is able to do. And now computers essentially are able to do it as well. It's interesting that AI works the best on clean, structured data. So I'll give specific examples of this throughout the talk that we have today. But that's been our experience working with AI at Atrium24 over the past 6 years. It's all been beneath the surface. And the best clean, structured data, that's what we've been curating with our data feeds, working with pharmacy management systems, pulling data in, curating it, making sure it's clean. And so the first piece of advice I have for you guys, as you start to embrace AI in your pharmacy practice, is make sure that your databases are clean. So what do I mean by that? Many of you have used AI tools, conversational large learning model like ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, like the conversational AI. If you think about it, it's just like typing into Google and you're asking the entire internet a question, right? It's looking at Wikipedia pages, it's looking at personal little websites people with no background or credibility have put up. So a large language model is looking at the whole universe of things. It doesn't have a clean, structured database. So with your pharmacy database, if you're going to start asking questions of your own data using AI, make sure it's as clean as possible. Make sure your 835 files are accurate with the drug costs coming in from your wholesalers. Make sure that your cost of goods, that your operating expenses for compounding and all this are loaded into your database as much as possible. And interestingly, if you're watching the investment picture of all these companies investing in AI companies, the ones with the biggest valuations have the cleanest data sets. So that's just a little rabbit hole. We're going to get into many today. But even in the future for the valuation of your pharmacy business, I think you have to have your databases cleaned in order for AI to work on them as much as possible. So there's different buckets of AI, right? You hear AI and the term, and it's almost like we're gathered here today to talk about the internet. You know, it's like so broad and so vast. But artificial intelligence, there's different buckets, and you've heard some of these terms. So ML is machine learning. So machine learning that learns patterns, it makes predictions. There's generative AI that creates text, it creates images, video, it even writes code. Natural language processing understands and processes human language. There's computer vision that can interpret the images and video. Speech and audio AI that transcribes and generates human speech. And I have examples of each of these in the coming slides. Robotic process automation, RPA. It can automate repetitive rules-based tasks. So you can see that a lot of these things will be or already are applicable in pharmacy. We do a lot of manual things. We do a lot of repetitive things. And we do a lot of things that can be trained to a model in AI. Domain-specific AI is where we're going to see the most investments, the most progress, the most interest and attention. So it's tailored to specific industries. For example, Dotti for pharmacy, for your sales and marketing. And also on the workflow side too. We're going to see a lot of domain-specific AI. And interestingly, pharmacy is a vertical in the healthcare industry that is just very behind the times when it comes to technology. So there's going to be a lot of companies coming into the AI space, coming into the health tech, the SaaS software space, wanting to modernize pharmacy. And just like, pharmacy and pharmacists kind of got left behind a little bit in the prescriptive authority, right? You remember that with like nurse practitioners and things like that. If we don't implement AI early, adapt early into our independent community retail compounding pharmacies, if we don't lead on this AI front, we're going to get left behind. Brick and mortar pharmacy, community pharmacy is going to get left behind because you can't even watch, I would say TV, but that's an old person term too, right? You can't even watch streaming. You can't watch Netflix or Hulu, whatever, without seeing commercials for the online telemedicine platforms that are changing the way consumers interact with their medications. So you have your Ro, Henry Meds, Hims, Hers, all the above, and they're marketing directly to consumers through streaming platforms. All those platforms and companies, they're just a telemedicine, not just, but they're the piece of the healthcare picture that they are serving is the telemedicine piece, connecting the patients to the prescribers to get a prescription written. But then they work with fulfillment pharmacies. Some of them are buying pharmacies and they're learning that road, but they are not the start and end point. They still have to work with pharmacies. And on the independent side, there's 18,000 independent pharmacies across the nation. So our pharmacies have to adapt. We already have the infrastructure. We have to clean our databases. We have to bring in AI, and we have to start marketing to consumers the same way that these telemedicine companies are marketing to consumers, or else we're going to get left behind. So I'll show you through this presentation how I think it's going to unfold and the different ways that we can get started now. But just an interesting tidbit on the bottom there, the timeline. Timeline for AI. So AI comes from 1956 from a Dartmouth conference. And after decades of hype cycles and then AI winters, the 2020s is where we're seeing the generative AI boom. So it's been 70 years in the making, and they say overnight success because now AI is everywhere. But now's the time when modern technology has caught up and just we're seeing it start to impact our daily life. I would even say in 5 years, the world is going to look very different. So it's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible in the next 3 months. It's going to be incredible in the next year. And after, if we talk this time next year, we're not even going to remember how much time we used to spend doing manual tasks in our business. And I think it's exciting. I'll show you why. I don't think it's scary. I think it's exciting. But there's a lot of AI tools you guys already know. And I actually interviewed a number of pharmacy owners who are already utilizing AI to ask them what they're using, how they're kind of streamlining with their teams, because a lot of us are kind of tinkering, right? And everybody that I interviewed, they think, oh, well, I don't use it that much, or I don't, but they actually do. I mean, if you use AI every day, or even if you use it every week, that's significant enough. So ChatGPT, my buddy Chat, me and Chat talk all the time. And I'll tell you how you can kind of turn on the memory for ChatGPT and pay a nominal amount every month to make it very useful for you. Claude is another for like text, reasoning, Grok. From what I understand, ChatGPT made by OpenAI is kind of one of the first, and it's a great stable platform. And from what I understand, Grok is one that may pull in more like recent references and things. Sometimes ChatGPT is a bit outdated unless you pay for the upgraded tiers. But speech and audio, there's Otter AI, there's Talktastic. I was just at a conference. I was just at a couple of conferences actually. And it's nice to have AI transcribing the CE sessions that you're sitting in because it'll automatically create notes, create action items, and just make it so that you can remember what was discussed or what things you want to go back to your store and research or implement. You could, there's even pharmacy owners that told me they're using it in their company meetings because it'll type up all the minutes and the notes. For media, I tinkered around with Midjourney. I don't know if you guys have to make images. The early images, it'll like create humans with too many fingers or whatever. It'll make like strange cat images for you, or like, I don't know. I'm not very good at Midjourney. It's getting better. Interestingly, now in the media section, even Canva. So a lot of us use Canva, right? Just to create quick little marketing pieces for our pharmacies. Canva even has AI generation built into it. So there's different media. Now, this is where we're interested, right? Us pharmacy nerds, workflow. So workflow AI, of course, we're always looking to reduce the cost to dispense a prescription. So manual data entry, IVR automation. There's a lot of different options there. I'm in the process of bringing as many AI companies to AtriumX as I can. AtriumX is our conference that we hold. We're going to have it March 5th through 7th in Orlando. I hope you guys can join us. So I'm meeting a lot of these AI companies. I'm researching their tools. I'm working with pharmacies to pilot them out. I met with the TJM Labs folks, and that's a really interesting tool. So they're working on data entry, and it's a bot. So they actually have a lot of these bots they'll put their code on a small piece of hardware called a Raspberry Pi, if you guys have heard of that. And it's like a small little, maybe twice the size of like a USB drive or something. And you plug that piece of hardware, into your computer, and it stays on your local network and it runs the code. So you don't have to worry about data feeds or like the cybersecurity of your data leaving your pharmacy, but it's a hard-coded bot and it's going to sit there and type your prescriptions. I'm watching to see how this all works because, I'm skeptical too sometimes. A lot of times a prescriber will send in an e-scribe, right? And they'll just choose a drug, but in the comments is where they'll have the compound. So there's going to be a lot of nuance. And I always say, if you've seen one pharmacy, you've seen one pharmacy, because these pharmacies, we work on ingesting their data feeds. They have all different types of workflow processes. They have all different types of rules set up. So AI can learn though. So just like a technician can learn, AI can learn too. So TJM Labs is a really cool company. I suggest reaching out to them. If you want their information, we can give it to you. We're still watching and researching them, but very interesting company, very interesting bot. Encore RX is another bot. I know there's some folks out there testing it. I haven't spoken with them yet. And then IVR automation. I just met a company at NCPA this past weekend that they have an IVR, like the phone calls when patients call up the phone, and then it's like the phone tree, press 1 for this, press 2 for this. The way that their AI works is they're able to answer the patient's questions with your database and route what they say up to 80% of the calls. So the only really 2 out of 10 patients actually need to talk to someone at the pharmacy or have a true question where they need to get patched through. So if you can reduce your call volume by 80% because AI is answering those questions, I mean, that would be fantastic. Some technicians might think, well, this is not great because this workflow AI is going to replace us. But really, technicians are meant for much more than answering phones, answering repetitive questions, and just doing data entry, moving a piece of data from one screen to another screen. So this will really help with prescriber outreach. My favorite thing, help with growing your business, help with actually talking to patients and seeing what they need and what they need that human interaction for, because they do need it. And that's something that they can't get from scanning a QR code off of Netflix to see a telemed and get a prescription shipped to their door or something like that. So I put Power BI in here as well. I think I'm gonna talk about it a little later, but I'll explain to you how we're using AI at Dotti and what's next in our software. And I always like to tell you, you can certainly do it yourself. Like, what we do is not rocket science. It's just very cumbersome and complicated and painstaking. So some larger pharmacy organizations, they'll take their database, they'll set up their cybersecurity stack. They will import their data into like a Microsoft Power BI, into Tableau, into like an external database like that. And then they'll create all their analytics there. It's just very expensive because then you have to pay for all of your server space as well. And you have to pay for all your cybersecurity, where we do that at Atrium 24. We have the cybersecurity stack. We have all the server space. We have all the resolvers in place, and we have everything that we need to make the data look pretty and accurate on the front end. So CRM, Customer Relationship Manager. This is the part, obviously, that I'm most excited about for the advent of AI coming into the pharmacy space. Because we have the Dotti software, Dotti CRM. It's a sales enablement tool. It pulls in all the dispensing data from hundreds of pharmacies across the country. We're actually in 42 states. I think we're closing 2 more states this week, though. So 44 states, and we pull in all the data. We clean it, we aggregate it, we run all that through AI just to make sure that the data is correct and it's what we expect, and we don't have to go back to the PMS to get cleaned up files. But then we put it on the front end to show pharmacies and surface their opportunities. These are your top prescribers. This is how they're trending. And very soon, AI will be put on the front end of Dotti. So not just the back end to keep it all running, but the front end of Dotti, so that you can have a conversation with your data. You can ask it, I have 2 hours to market this week. Who should I visit and what should the message be? What are my most profitable compounds? Year to date, which prescribers have decreased more than 20%, whatever kind of like growth sales questions. If you find yourself sitting in your pharmacy running reports, AI can do all of that. We shouldn't have to be running reports anymore very soon. So there's that. Also, just like I ran through that quick, just top of the mind exercise on if you could talk to your data through AI, and it could give you, now remember, this is your captive data in Dotti. It's your captive cleaned data. So the questions that you ask it will be accurate. The reason that a lot of times if you talk to ChatGPT or something and the response that you get back is not really accurate is a few reasons. Number one, it's looking at the whole Internet of Things, right? It's looking at all the Wikipedia pages. It's looking at all the unverified personal pages. I mean, we had classes in pharmacy school on how to do research and how to verify our sources, right? And look at PubMed and Cochrane-reviewed trials. So if you're asking ChatGPT those things, you're not getting those answers. If you're asking your captive data set those questions, you're getting those correct answers, assuming your data set is clean, remember? But if you're asking your data set now, let's take it a step further. And it's going to keep going through iterations of further steps, which I'm excited about. But what I'm in the process of building with our team is let's not even have our pharmacy owners ask those questions. Let's code in for Dotti to ask those questions of the data set, and then put those triggers and put those recommended actions into queues, so that when you log into Dotti, it tells you, these are the prescribers that need a human touch point. This is the recommended touch point. These prescribers respond best via email. These ones do best via in-person. These do best via text, whatever it is. And then here's the message. Would you like to send it? Because I know a lot of us use, with our pharmacy management system, it'll automatically text patients, and then we don't have visibility who got what text and why and where can I see it. And I wouldn't have sent that to that patient because we already had a conversation with them, things like that. So with AI now, it's awesome. And you'll be able to talk to your data very soon, probably in most platforms that you use. Although the PMS companies have been strangely slow in implementing like a large language model into the PMS features. But I just want to always keep a guard around it, right? Keep it so that, do you want to do this? Do you have a human look at it to see if it makes sense? Because no matter what, you'll still be interacting with your patients, you'll still be interacting with your prescribers, and AI won't have all of that interaction note yet. Who knows? Maybe we'll start wearing like contact lenses that'll record everything, but it won't have all those. So you'll still need that human lens to look and say, no, I wouldn't. Let me clear that, or let me cancel that. Let me say, no, I don't want to send that message to that patient, or I want to tweak the message that I'm sending to that prescriber. So anyway, with a CRM within Dotti, we already have all the analytics. We already have all the prescriber analytics there. Very soon, we have a lot of features coming that'll make the CRM more robust. So things like calendar integration, email integration, text integration. We'll be pulling in routing. We'll be lead funneling, all sorts of fun things. Now that all of us are kind of in there and we understand what a CRM is and we're used to using it to run our businesses, If you look at larger CRM companies out there for the world, not just for the pharmacy industry, Dotti is the first CRM for the pharmacy industry. But there's Salesforce and there's HubSpot. They work for all industries, so they require a lot of customization if you're going to use them in your pharmacy. There's a lot of upfront costs, a lot of ongoing costs, but they've started to pull in AI tools as well. I've used HubSpot and I've used their AI. And it's all still a little clunky right now, but I do see that it's going to catch up very quickly. So let's talk about my favorite thing, AI for physician engagement. So all of us want to grow our prescriber base. So let's just give an example of today. What can I do today? Because it's fun to talk about the future, and we're all running businesses today. So today you can use ChatGPT Plus. It's $20 a month, just so that you know, for prescriber outreach. You could use that, and I'll tell you why. You could use Grok just for fast prompts. You can just go to ChatGPT online and you can type things, interact with it. A few asterisks for you, and I reiterate this in the presentation, but don't upload any sensitive information into these open source ChatGPT or Grok or any sort of online AI. Don't put any sensitive information in there, certainly no patient information, because it's all open source. And they've even stated, like, publicly, they're not responsible for protecting your data. So they can turn it over to authorities, it can go anywhere, it's not private. But if you pay the $20 a month, you get the plus feature of ChatGPT, and that means you can turn on memory. So if you're just asking it, like you're filling out things about my business, Atrium24 is a software company that helps independent pharmacies with their sales and marketing. Just basic things like that you want to remember. What is Dotti? How does Dotti work? You can plug those things in and ChatGPT will remember it. It'll also remember how you speak. So if you're trying to prompt ChatGPT to write a professional email to prescribers, for example, it will remember the tone of your voice, words that you like to use, words that you don't like to use, and it'll start to talk like you. You can start to train that model. So that's what people mean when they say train the model. They have the memory turned on so that that model starts to learn how they speak. So there's that. So let's do an example today. So let's prompt ChatGPT to write a professional email to a prescriber about our compounding expertise in dermatology. So we're going to save time, have a consistent tone, and it's going to be scalable. So of course, be very specific, be as specific as possible, and then review the outcome for the output for compliance. Now, operations and analytics, if you wanted to use AI for there, everyday AI tools, like we said, Otter AI for your meeting transcripts, Talktastic for some consult notes. Just remember, if you're going to put you're not going to put any patient-specific information, certainly no patient names, date of births, medications, or anything. But if you're going to have just general or unidentifiable consult notes, you can put it in like that, and use Talktastic is one that some pharmacy owners that I know have been using. The IVR data entry AI. As I have more information about that, I'll get it out to you guys. And I hope, I'm in the process of getting them there, but I hope to have them at AtriumX as well. There's a handful of them and I really want to bring. I also want to mention Pharmacy Marketplace. If you guys know Wade Hinkle, I know that he uses AI for your pharmacy purchasing and procurement. And I think that's super interesting to tell you, like, this is your primary vendor contract, and this is where you should be buying these medications at these higher prices so that you get your generic rebate. But this is where you should buy away from your primary contract on secondaries because the price is lower and you're not going to impact your rebate. So that's fascinating and something I don't think we could figure out without AI or kind of spending a lot of time. So with the consumer AI, be careful on your manual exports and your risk for your patient information. Something too, if you guys have tinkered around with ChatGPT or Grok enough, you'll realize that even if, like, okay, Nicolette, I uploaded a spreadsheet into ChatGPT and I asked it a question about my data and it didn't give me a good answer. And a lot of times it won't, it'll stop after 10 rows or it'll stop after a while. And then you have to go back and like continue to ask it the question and tell it to read the entire file. and it doesn't do a great job because it's open source. So the solution, platforms like Dotti, securely ingest nightly data feeds and clean them automatically. So we already do that today. And I know that's not super sexy or exciting, but it's very necessary. And we spend so much time and resources on pulling in these hundreds of data feeds every night. And then with some pharmacy management systems, we have an API, which is like a real-time interface to pull the data in. But trust me, we pay a ton to keep it all secure, to keep it housed in servers that have uptime to keep everything running. You guys probably saw last week, there was a AWS, the Amazon Web Services, it was down, and it impacted so many different software companies. It impacted, like, I don't know, Snapchat and all these, like, I don't know, Grubhub or all these things, all these services, hundreds of software company services were down because most software companies run on a few different major server platforms. So there's Amazon Web Services, AWS, there's Microsoft Azure, AZURE, if you've heard of that one, AWS, Azure, and then there's Google, so Google Cloud Protocol. We actually run on GCP right now, so let's hope that Google stays with their uptime. So let me show, so I'm going to do a little demo here. So this is the Dotti dashboard. We clicked on Dr. James Houghton. It pulls up James Houghton's data, okay? So in real time, it's showing us week over week, Dr. Houghton, this is how many prescriptions we've dispensed for this prescriber, and it's just going to loop for you there on the right. So we're going to look at Dr. James Houghton. From his CRM, we're going to click into the data. We can see, and this is just an example from a demo data set, but Dotti dashboard shows Dr. Houghton has $13,000 in gross profit in his recent scripts that he sent in. So I'm a pharmacy owner, I'm running reports, right? Or I'm looking at it in real time in Dotti. The top compounds that Dr. Houghton writes is for biased creams, progesterone, testosterone, and clomiphene. So I want to reach out to Dr. Houghton, okay? He's one of our top prescribers. He's our number 3 gross profit prescriber there on the dashboard, I can see. And what we always tell with our Dotti pharmacies is your top 3 prescribers, your top 5 prescribers, your top 10 prescribers, like pick a number of your top gross profit prescribers. Log into Dotti or run reports daily and see, have my top 5 prescribers changed? Did I expect that change? Why did they change? And then if they are changing and I'm like, Dr. Houghton's our number 3 prescriber based on aggregate gross profit. I didn't expect that. Look at that big jump he had. He went from 23 scripts to 113 scripts, you know? So I didn't expect to see that. What's going on? We want to reach out to him, right? So let's use ChatGPT to turn that into outreach. So this is something we can do today, and it's very simple. So this is the Dotti dashboard, what it looks like in the My Data. So our Plus and Pro members have access to My Data and Dotti, and we're only looking at Dr. Houghton here. And we can see week over week, 27 prescriptions, 22, 25, 19, and 9. He's starting to trend down. Why? He was giving us 1,000, a little over 1,000 a week in gross profit, and now that's trending down. Let's go talk to him. Let's see what's going on. Let's create some materials for him, but I know I want to go talk to Dr. Houghton. Maybe I want to email him. Maybe I want to visit him. Maybe I want to call him. What is my message? So if I scroll down further on the My Data page, I can see all the compounds that he's written. I can open each one up and I can see the prescription numbers and the metrics, but here's all the gross profits. Here's how many prescriptions. So let's take that. I screenshot it. So on a Windows, if you screenshot, or on a Mac, I do Command Shift 4, and then I just screenshot, paste it into ChatGPT. And my prompt is draft an outreach letter to Dr. Houghton. He prescribes biased, progesterone, testosterone, and clomiphene. Suggest related compound therapies he might be interested in. So this is the output email. Dear Dr. Houghton, I wanted to thank you for your continued collaboration with XYZ Pharmacy. Over the past few months, we've seen steady prescribing trends from your office with consistent strength in therapies such as bias, progesterone, and clomiphene. Your patients continue to benefit from these treatments, and we're proud to support their care through high-quality compounded therapies. Now, if you don't like this, you just tell ChatGPT that I don't like it, or what you don't like, or be more succinct, or, take this out. And you don't have to speak in proper grammar or full sentences, which I like, but it says, as we look ahead, I'd love to schedule a quick call to review prescribing patterns together and explore additional compounded options that might be helpful for your patients. We're seeing strong outcomes with other therapies in hormone health and wellness, and I believe there may be opportunities to expand your toolkit further. Would you be open to a brief conversation next week? I can make myself available at your convenience. So this is the first draft. And remember, the more drafts you put through ChatGPT, the better it will get, the more it will sound like it. The more you will like the output. Also, we didn't put in any specific information. We didn't put any specific prescription information. We didn't put any patient information in search, certainly. So just so you know, now I took the actual, I screenshotted the actual like detailed search. I said, here's a more detailed listing of what Dr. Houghton prescribes. Based on this, what additional compounded therapies might he be interested in? Update the outreach letter to reflect these insights, keeping the structure clean and professional. So a couple things there. If you're going to go to a doctor and ask them something, right? I always think to myself, what do I want? What do I want the outcome to be? What am I asking for? So if I can go in front of someone without any niceties and say, this is what I want, what do I want? Right? That's always very important. So with this example, Dr. Houghton, we want to know what else would they write for, right? What additional therapies should we approach them about? So looking at Dr. Houghton's prescribing data, a few themes stand out. So there's a core focus in hormones, fertility, men's health, wellness adjacent therapies. So logical additional opportunities, you could suggest expanded hormone therapy like thyroid support, advanced men's health support, women's health adjuncts, wellness support. I know there's so much in wellness and peptides and everything like that. It's always interesting to talk to your prescribers about peptides, wellness, anti-aging, weight loss, because you know their patients are asking them about it, even GI offices. So I would include that in all your messaging too. So now Chat went ahead and it added what you want to ask Dr. Houghton about. Dr. Houghton, thank you for your continued trust in XYZ Pharmacy. We've been honored to support your patient's care, and it's clear from recent trends that hormone health remains a key area of focus for your practice. Your consistent use of biased topical creams, progesterone in both topical and oral forms, testosterone creams, and enclomiphene capsules has had a strong impact on your patients. Based on these patterns, we see natural opportunities to expand into additional compounded therapies that may complement the work you're already doing. Options such as thyroid formulations, so NAD+, LDN. So this can help you create some outreach to Dr. Houghton. A lot of prescribers, we've had pharmacies, we have white papers, even with Justin Clark at Val Vista Pharmacy. He did a lot of great outreach work via email to his prescribers. So he would email a brief note, some marketing materials, and then he would offer to go visit them, or they could just call him on the phone. And he was able to generate a ton of business that way, logging his notes in Dotti and following up and doing all those things. So this is a great way to like have that message with your prescribers. And this you can do today. Very soon, all of the interactions will funnel into Dotti as the source of truth. And you'll be able to do these things, email and everything, and responses from Dotti. But it's a great way to engage and interact with your prescribers. And also, if it's not you who's going out and talking to them, you can at least tee up the message, and or your reps can use your Dotti data to tee up the message of what you want them out there talking to your prescribers about in the field. So a refinement prompt you can always do is make it shorter and focus on patient outcomes, and then you'll get a concise patient-centered version. It's interesting because it's, it takes a little bit of tinker work, a little setup work in the beginning. But this is exactly how we were able to grow to over 1,000 5-star reviews at my pharmacy before I sold it. We tweaked and tweaked and tweaked. This was before AI. And we're going to start to say that now, right? Remember before AI, we would do all these things, but we got the message just right. And it was a short, humble ask of our patients, an automated text after all their appointments, for them to leave us a review. And it thanked them, thank you so much for trusting Palm Harbor Pharmacy with your care. If you had a good experience, and it would say, and if you didn't, call us and don't leave a review. But the messaging makes all the difference, and AI will help you to get that message out to your prescribers. Because how many of us don't email our top prescribers right now? Because it would take a really long time for us to sift through all the data, write the email, but now you can literally do it within 30 seconds. You can screenshot from Dotti, you can ask Chat, Chat can learn how you want to talk and what you want the outreach to be. You can copy paste it into email and go. So with Dotti, you have secure, structured data already. You don't have to run reports. ChatGPT, I know it sounds silly. We're sitting here talking about ChatGPT, and this is a very technical webinar. We'll get more technical. I just wanted to give you an example of what you could use today. But Chat has great, fast, professional outreach drafts. So together you can have a strategy in minutes, not hours. Don't put any PHI or raw identifiers into Chat or any open source module. Something too that I'm focusing on, and this is a problem I'm trying to solve for, is, let's think about this. We all know, and I'm gonna stop the share just for a second because this is like a little bit of my soapbox. We all know that we should be out sales and marketing, right? We have a business. We're really good at workflow. We're really good at legal compliance. We're really good at patient care. We're really good at operations. But if we're not feeding the beast, if we don't have a sales engine, if we don't have a business development focus, if we don't have sales and marketing, if we don't have lead generation, if we don't have nurturing for our current customers as prescribers and as patients, then it kind of doesn't matter how efficient we are, right? If we're not going out and trying to grow more profitable business. So, okay, yes, Nicolette, we all know that we're supposed to be doing these functions. Now, of all the hundreds of pharmacies that we work with and that we talk to, very few of them actually are doing all the things they want to be doing, right? Some have sales reps. A lot of pharmacies don't have sales reps, and I understand that because it's very cumbersome. So some talk to their prescribers, but how many of you have talked to your top 5 gross profit prescribers in the last 30 days, 90 days? How many of you have talked with them and documented those interactions in a CRM? Not many, right? Why not? What are the barriers? What are the roadblocks that are stopping us from doing these things? Well, there's a lot, right? We are wearing a lot of hats. There's a lot of things on fire. There's technicians calling out. We're short-staffed pharmacists. We had an audit come up. There's recredentialing going on right now with one of the big PBMs. There's a lot of stuff going on, right? That's preventing us from doing the things we know we're supposed to be doing. Also, those things that we know we're supposed to be doing are manual, cumbersome, uncertain, free text, open-ended. On both sides, AI is going to help solve for all of that. Number one, it's going to take away a lot of the manual tasks that we have on the workflow and operations. Remember, we talked about IVR, we talked about data entry. AI is going to take away a lot of that from our plate. Credentialing, licensing, AI is going to be able to take care of a lot of that. Then on the other side, AI is going to help streamline your outreach. It's going to show you who needs a human touch, what is the message, how are we delivering it? It's automatically being documented. It's automatically queuing follow-ups. It's automatically queuing outreach. So very soon, we are all going to have a sales rep, whether it's Dotti AI and that's your sales rep, whether that's where you start, whether it's going to help you to enable the sales reps that you hire to go out and promote your business and solve medication-related problems that patients are having. So that's the problem that I'm trying to solve. Like, what are the biggest barriers that pharmacies have in sales and marketing for their business to retain profitability, grow profitability, and be able to help more patients and help to make their business more stable? And how can we automate that with AI? So I think that's really fascinating. So that's my soapbox. Let's look at natural language and workflow AI. So today, Dotti, which is our software that we have at Atrium24, it's a CRM, a customer relationship manager with AI analytics for pharmacies. So today, we use AI-assisted development. So our developers use AI right now in writing new code and releasing new features and things like that. And we use something called an MCP server, so Model Context Protocol server. So it queries our SFTP, which is a secure file transfer protocol, and then has hidden database info. So today, that's what we do. We pull in data feeds. We have business relationships with most pharmacy management systems. When a pharmacy signs up with Dotti, they sign a data release form that explicitly says, what we're able to do, what we're able to pull from each PMS securely, bring it into our servers, put it into our FTP. And then we have a nightly ingestion of pharmacy sales activity data. So we pull in the dispensing and financials and everything. We have prescriber level insights. We also have public prescriber data enrichment. So we have an API database into the national, a lot of acronyms on this call. We should be like, well, we should not be taking a shot for every acronym that I say because we wouldn't get through the webinar. But we should do a fun little ticker for every acronym that I say. It's daytime, Nicolette. Keep it professional here. Anyway, we have an API into the national NPI database to pull in. So like on that example with Dr. Houghton, you're like, hey, I want to get more into wellness, or I want to get more into dermatology or whatever. In Dotti, you can search in certain zip codes for certain prescriber specialties. So I just created in ChatGPT some outreach language to dermatologists or podiatrists or gastroenterologists about our compounds, our supplements, our clinical consults. And I want to be able to get that information out to a lot of those prescribers. You can pull them in from a database and put them in your CRM through Dotti today. We use a Silogic observability to ensure that the integrations stay reliable. So it's an AI tool that we use when we ingest all the data, because believe it or not, and you might believe it knowing some of these pharmacy management systems, but sometimes the data that we get, and we get hundreds of files every night, is just wrong, or the IP address changed, or something's not quite right. And so I used to look at the data feeds every day that came in, but now there's too much and I can't, and I'm not awesome at it anymore because I'm just like you guys wearing all these hats. So AI does that for us today. Tomorrow, I wish it was actually tomorrow, but I'm just like figuratively speaking tomorrow, but tomorrow we'll have AI Copilot. So you'll be able to have conversational queries. Which prescribers grew the most this month? You'll be able to have function calling, MCPs for safe real-time data use. What do I mean by that? I mean, you can ask your data anything that you want, and you can run functions inside of your Dotti instance without having to export the data out and then upload it somewhere, because there's security issues with that, let alone other issues, but security is the biggest concern that I have with taking your data outside of your pharmacy management system or outside of Dotti. We will also have proactive sales enablement. So high value prescriber targeting, follow-up recommendations. We have awesome pharmacies, innovative, brilliant, amazing pharmacies that use Dotti right now. And they have been flooding us, which we love, with new features that they want to see in Dotti. And so if you have any of those, we always ask that you let us know. You can click on contact us in Dotti and it creates a ticket. But all those things are going into the Dotti system, going into our pipeline, into our roadmap. And then, of course, just expanded analytics. So being able to forecast, report, and even having a patient level CRM so that you can reach out not only to prescribers, but to patients as well for a sales and marketing perspective. So why does all that matter? It's tough. Dotti already ingests, formats, and secures your data daily. It's something that we've been working on here for just over 6 years. So just like AI has been around 70 years, we've been ingesting data and cleaning data and getting really good at data for 6+ years from a sales and marketing perspective. So you could do all that and set up your cybersecurity stack, set up Power BI or Tableau or something like that. And some larger organizations, it makes sense, for those who have like 30 stores across the country and have their own development team, it might make sense for them to do that. But that's the problem that we're trying to solve for, is we're trying to build that for the independent pharmacy sector. We talked about this. I just wanted to be sure. So ChatGPT Plus is not a secure option. It'll give you memory, but it won't give you private server access. You would have to buy your own private server on like AWS, Azure, GCP, and it can be easily 6 figures plus per year to get your own private server. And then you'll see, as we did, we quickly filled our server up once we reached 200 pharmacies, and our tool got pretty slow. If you're close to my heart and you've been with us for the past year. So this year we actually refactored the entire database and made it much more robust. And now instead of running on Mongo, we run on Postgres database, and it's much quicker, much more reliable. So now that we've done all the infrastructure work, we can go from our 200 plus pharmacies to 2,000 plus on the database side and still run very quickly and compliantly. So we talked about that. I would use chat for non-sensitive content. I love it for outreach drafts. I love it for marketing. I love it for campaigns. I love it for like, hey, here's a half a thought that I need to email someone professionally, and chat will write out the whole email and make sure that it makes sense. Because sometimes I'll type in ways that my mind works and it's not linearly. So secure AI options for pharmacies. So ChatGPT Enterprise, OpenAI for Business, it has stronger privacy and better controls. It's expensive. It's enterprise. Anything enterprise is going to be expensive and custom for your pharmacy. We talked about a private LLM deployment on a cloud. You have to also have your own cybersecurity stack for that too, which is more expense on top of the servers. You could have a self-hosted large language model on-prem, which means on-site, on-premises, or in a controlled cloud environment. So even your guys' pharmacy management systems, your servers are either on-prem or they're in the cloud. So that'll affect how you can get your data in and out. But self-hosted LLMs on-prem is probably the maximum control that you can have, but it requires a lot of hardware and AI operations. Hybrid MCP-enabled designs, that's the kind that I like the best, because AI can query your data safely via secure protocols. That's what we do at Dotti. Domain-specific software as a service, SaaS, with secure architecture like Dotti, built for pharmacy, data security, and AI from the start. So obviously that's my favorite because that's the world that I live in. So we talked about how's AI going to impact us in the pharmacy industry, what's next, what's coming, what are we working on for Dotti now that we have everything secure and ready to go, right? But let's just talk about the industry as a whole and healthcare. So I've been reading some really interesting articles on AI in pharma drug discovery, and I wanted to share a little bit with you here in case you're reading something similar or in case this is interesting to you. So the entire ecosystem, the entire universe of pharmaceuticals, medications, treatments, therapies, patient care is going to change with AI, and specifically in drug discovery. So most investment dollars, and even big pharma, is investing tons of money in different AI companies and startups because there's AlphaFold, Atomwise, and others, but it's accelerating drug discovery. So AlphaFold is predicting 3D protein structures in hours versus months of lab work. Atomwise uses deep learning to screen billions of molecules for potential binding matches. And then this in silico designs new molecules and optimizes clinical trial targets, reducing the preclinical cost and time. But the impact of this is going to be faster research and development, reduced trial costs, and a surge in specialty and gene-targeted drugs. So they're even seeing which binding proteins make sense for these drugs to attach onto. All the trial and error basically is it used to take so much time, and now it's taking a fraction of that time. So what's that going to mean down the road? We'll see. But on the pharmacy impact, we're going to have earlier access to novel therapies. PBM formularies are going to need to update faster. Inventory, data-driven inventory strategies for these high-cost niche meds, all this will be affected. We're seeing the biggest kind of deployment of capital in oncology and in cancer therapies and treatments. But look at even the GLPs right now, right? It's crazy to see that you have big pharma, Novo and Lilly, and they have the patents on these GLPs that are life-changing for patients around the world. And there's arguments that the molecules were actually found by the NIH, which is government funding, which a lot of the molecules that receive patents are found by the NIH and government funding first. So patents are wild. And if it doesn't take as long to find the drug, if it's not as expensive, not only are patients going to get treated sooner, but the cost to recoup the research and development won't be as much. And so the patents should be much shorter. So then the entire like the whole incentivization plan and structure for big pharma is all going to be impacted. And it's just going to be fascinating to watch. So drug discovery, it's already accelerated a lot. And this whole new pathway, like I've been in pharmacy for what, 25 years? And we saw HRT was big, Viagra, and then generic sildenafil and all that was big. On the independent pharmacy and on like the profitability side, right? But none of us, and then we had COVID, of course, that was wild. But we haven't seen anything like we've seen with the GLPs and what's coming next, and the GIPs and the combos and retatrutide and studies right now. We're all waiting for the retatrutide studies to come and to see if it's going to get FDA approval, right? There's BPC 157 body protection compound peptide that is trying to get through, depending on the circles you run in, to be on the bulks list or to be able to be compounded. AI and this whole back story can accelerate all of that. So much more than I can even comprehend. So it's so exciting. So key takeaways: AI grows your prescriber base. Definitely use whatever tools you have available to you right now to identify how to grow your business and to identify how to streamline your outreach. But start outreach, start targeting. AI is going to streamline your operations. AI is going to improve your profitability. It's going to drive discovery. Make sure your foundation is secure with clean data. And just remember, AI feels new, but it's nearly 70 years in the making. And today's generative AI boom is built on decades of progress. So some things that you could do this week, I mean, it's all going to be changing rapidly, but I wanted to give you an insight into a bit of the future, what's coming for us, for the industry, what I'm seeing, and then what you can do today. So try ChatGPT Plus if you haven't yet. Try Otter AI or Talktastic. Start to look into the workflow automations. Check out Dotti. We'd love to give you a demo. On the last slide, I have our contact information. If you haven't checked out Dotti yet, we'd love to show it to you. Track AI trends in pharmacy. And join us at AtriumX. It's a one-of-a-kind conference. I've been putting on pharmacy conferences. I used to work for PDS and the big pharmacy super conference every February for the past decade. I go to at least a dozen shows a year. So we made our own. You learn alongside pharmacy owners who are building what's next. There's breakout sessions. You vote in real time on opening night what you want the breakout sessions to be about. You're not just going to sit there and listen to 1 hour PowerPoint presentations from the stage the whole time. I don't have the attention span for that. I want to be in breakout sessions. I want to hear from people who have done this in their stores, people who have original thought, people who don't usually speak at conferences. I want to hear what they have to say. And that's what we pulled together with our subject matter experts, our innovators, our professional facilitators, and some of the best exhibitors and vendors in the industry. Like I told you, I'm trying to pull in as many AI vendors as I can so that we can hear from them and learn from them because they're brilliant. So join us March 5th through 7th, AtriumX. Tickets are available now. And then questions, we're here to help. Here's our contact information. Reach out to us if you would like to see a demo of Dotti. We have a sandbox. You can play with your data in a free trial if that's something you want to do. But I had a question pop up and I have just a minute for questions. Someone asked, can I use Dotti to email customers as well or only prescribers? They don't want to get HubSpot if they don't need to. Today, we cannot email out of Dotti, but we can log interactions. So we can show you Fatma on the demo if you'd like to. Sam can walk you through all that and show you how it works. And we will be pulling customer information into Dotti just as soon as we finish building out the patient CRM as well. But it's definitely an exciting time in pharmacy. I know AI is such a huge buzzword, and gosh, it's going to change so rapidly. It's going to change the way that we practice pharmacy for sure. Thank you guys so much. Reach out if you have any questions. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.